Full transparency, I do not have permission from my husband to tell you this story, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Hi guys, what's up? My name's Ashley Milky. I'm a certified life and business coach, and I am here to just spill the beans on my life and give you the best advice I can give you so you can stop settling and live your dream life. Let's dive in, okay? Also, like, subscribe. I drop new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so now that that's out of the way, I'm gonna tell you the story of how my husband being a god helped me become a god. Oh, that sounds so bad, but it doesn't. I'm owning it. I'm owning it. I'm owning it. I'm owning it. I am a god. That's what my husband says. And I'm going to teach you how harnessing godlike energy can help you have the confidence of a god. We're talking Greek mythology. We're talking Zeus. We're talking Hades. Like, that is the level of confidence we are going to embrace after the end of this video. So the main goal of today's video is, one, to make you more confident, and two, make you like own whatever parts of yourself you're maybe afraid of or don't like. For example, I am owning the fact that I'm a burden, and I think my success is a burden on people. One, I think the more successful I get, I think the harder it gets for people around me. And I think the more successful I get, the harder it makes for people who are not as successful. And so I try to make myself really, really tiny and small because I don't want to make people feel bad with how great I am. And it's almost like deep down, I'm like a little cocky, and I know I'm amazing and I know I'm awesome, but then like throughout my life, like shouting that from the rooftops and shining really big, like I saw how it made people feel upset, or it made them feel small, or like, you know, I would get leads in musicals and others wouldn't, and I know how that feels when you don't get the part you really want, and so they would feel tiny and small, and I would be like, oh no, I never want anyone to feel sad because of me. Let me hide my shine so I don't hurt anyone's feelings. And there's all kinds of reasons why we don't want to be visible. That's mine for me. I'm a burden, and that's something I'm owning. Some other people could be like, I'm not good enough, I'm cocky, kind of like how I was, but that's not really my shame. I'll own the fact that I'm amazing and awesome. I'm just trying to remove the layer of burden I feel with that. And so the goal is, if you want to uncover massive amounts of confidence, we're going to talk about the story my husband doesn't know I'm about to tell you in a minute. The goal is to like peel back these layers of yourself that you feel shameful about. There's no good or bad in the world, things just are. And obviously like there's morally bad and morally good, but we can't shame ourselves for parts of ourselves that others don't like. And I'm gonna give you an example. So here's where we get into my husband's story. Okay, so my husband literally thinks he's a god. And he goes around and he tells people this. Like, he's like, no, of course this worked out for me. I'm a god. Of course people liked me. I'm a god. He has literally never had anyone dislike him in his entire life. And I'm like, what a life you must live. And I've recently realized like that is not my experience. I was journaling just this morning and like wondering why being a burden has like been so hard for me, and like my success being a burden to other people. What's that about? And I've realized like a lot of times in my life when I outshine people, I lose friends, and I'm owning that, and that's okay and whatever. But for him, that's not his experience. He just shines and shines and shines, and everybody loves him. And I'm like, what is that about, right? And there was one time where we went to a Red Sox game, okay? And we have drinks and we're dancing. It's like that part of the game where the music's playing, we're dancing around, whatever. And Adrian spills his drink on some guy's head who's sitting in front of us. And this guy gets so mad. He literally stands up. Him and Adrian are this close to each other's faces. They're just staring off. And that guy's like, did you just spill your drink on me? And I think he was expecting Adrian to yell back, but like, Adrian's a god. He doesn't do that. And Adrian was like, oh my gosh, man, I am so sorry. Like, you know what? Let me buy you a drink. Let me make it up to you. Like, what can I do for you? And the guy was like, pour the drink on your head. And Adrian's like, come on, man, I'm not going to pour my drink on my head. Let me buy you a drink. Let's resolve this. And I think like big Boston energy is like this guy wanted to argue and fight and whatever. And Adrian's like, nah, dude, let me solve it. And then that guy just kind of huffed and puffed and sat down. And I was like, me and Adrian's coworkers all looking at each other. We're like, did we just find a person who doesn't like Adrian, the god who everyone likes? And we're all joking. And then we're like, well, I guess there's one person who doesn't like Adrian. Then this man comes back. And this man turns around and he goes, hey man, like, you know, I would have bought you a drink at the bar, but I didn't know what you wanted. Like, and like apologized. Like, this man, my husband, has never met a man who, or a person who doesn't like him. And I was like, what is that about? Like, how can someone be so confident, so full of themselves, so like, literally telling people he's a god and not run into problems? And it's because when you own the parts of yourself that you feel shameful for, and I don't think he's ever felt shameful for that part of himself, but when you own that, then all of a sudden people are like, oh yeah, like That's just Adrian. He's a god. Everybody knows that Adrian calls himself a god. No one thinks anything of it. It's part of his personality because he's taking control of it and he owns it. And that allows him to be more confident. So we have to think about you, if we're thinking about your confidence, like what keeps you small? What makes you not want to be the fullest, most outrageous, most successful version of yourself? And for me, like I said, it's like I'm afraid of outshining people because I think I have a lot of light to shine and I don't want to make people feel dim by the brightness of my own light. And so I think like part of me, and the reason why I probably ended up marrying Adrian is for him to show me like, no, you can be so bright. You can be so bright that you call yourself a god and people are like, no, that's just how Ashley is, right? She's just so confident. Ashley's just so bubbly. She's so loud, right? These are all things about myself at one point and another I have felt shame for: being loud, for being bubbly, being silly, being too smart, being too outspoken, being too aggressive, like all of those things. And if I can own those things and be like, yeah, I'm smart, I'm loud, I'm aggressive, I'm bubbly, I am not what you think I can be. You cannot put me in a box because I am all of those things and more. Then I get to own that and nobody has the power to make me feel shame for those things. And so if you're someone who's like, how can I be more confident in my life? It really comes down to owning the parts of yourself that you feel shameful for. And before you do that, you want to kind of like explore like, why do you feel shameful for that part? What happened in the past? A great resource to do this is to Be Magnetic. It's a manifestation process, but basically they have this workshop called Shadow, and it helps you figure out your shadow words. Like, what are those parts of yourself that you feel shameful for? It has meditations to work you through kind of reprogramming the events in your childhood or life that made you feel shame for those things. Like I said, for me, one of them is being loud. One of them is being like, my parents always told me to be more humble, right? So it's like you stack on all these words and all of a sudden, like, of course you can't bust out and show your full confidence. You have all these words dragging you down and this fear around who you have to be. I'll give you an example. When I was first going viral on TikTok, I was so worried. I'm a certified life and business coach. I was so afraid people would think I was in an MLM or a multi-level marketing scheme. And I was like, I am not that. I know I'm not that. I know I'm literally coaching people. I'm consulting businesses. I'm changing lives, but I don't want people to perceive me as that. And so when I got down to the root of it, and it stopped me from posting videos because I was so worried about it. When I got down to the root of it, I didn't want to be perceived as a bad person. And so like that was one of like these shadow words. I'm bad, I'm mean, I'm whatever. And so then whenever I would get comments on my videos, people were like, oh my God, you're in an MLM, you're scamming women, you're a horrible person. Because I didn't own that part of myself that I might be bad, that I let those people control me, and I stopped posting videos for months. Like 3 months I didn't post videos. I let them take my confidence away because I didn't own that part of myself or integrate that part of myself. And I'm not a bad person, but I could see why someone could perceive what I'm doing as confusing or they don't understand. And that's happened to me in my childhood. Fun fact, when I was in 2nd grade, Miss Janinski got mad at me because I had ADHD and no one knew it at the time, and I was like working ahead in my math workbook, and she kicked me out of class for not listening to her and for working ahead, right? So I wasn't doing anything wrong, but I was perceived as bad, and that was my biggest fear. And so I had to own that part of myself to allow myself to my confidence to come through, and for others' judgment not to get to me. And like you want it to get to the place with your confidence and like these shadow words that someone could say like, I can't believe this about you. And you would be like, well, that doesn't make sense. It doesn't really impact me. Like for the comments, when someone's like, you're in an MLM. Now it's like, if someone were to say, Ashley, you have really smelly feet, I would be like, how would you know? And no, my feet smell delightful. Thank you so much, you know? And so that's like kind of how I have to get to with this word burden, right? Like if someone were to be like, Ashley, you're the biggest burden, or Ashley, your success makes me so triggered. It makes me so mad. I have to get to the place where I'm like, okay, well, I can't do anything about that. That sounds like a you problem. That's not on me. I'm worthy of success. I'm worthy of attention. I'm worthy of the confidence that I have. And I'm not going to sacrifice that for anyone. And if you're struggling to do this by yourself, I definitely recommend booking a 30-minute coaching session with me so we can get down to the bottom of what are some of these shadow words or these like shameful parts of yourself that we can embrace and you can learn to love or shift in your mind about yourself so you can show up in your full confidence. Because like my husband says, he's a god, and there's no reason why we can't have god complexes and just own it. Like, can you imagine you have a god complex and you're like so cocky and everyone's like, yeah, that's just Adrian's personality. I'm trying to be on that level, okay? And so I'm gonna keep calling myself a burden because I'm owning that word. My success might burden others, my success might trigger others, but I'm not gonna let it drive my decisions in my life or dull my shine, dull my confidence. And it's funny, okay? So you can start, and as soon as you start to own this part of yourself, like start to identify parts of yourself when you've like embodied being in that. So I can think of a million examples when Adrian's felt like an embodied being a god, but for me, being a burden, like for some reason, my success being a burden to friends or to followers, that makes me nervous. But me being a burden to Adrian, I literally don't care. If he's playing video games and I want his attention and I want it right now, I will like literally be like, are you done yet? Are you done yet? I need attention. I deserve your attention. Let's go. And so we want to, like, the next thing that you can do is think about, when in your life have you embodied this trait that you feel a little shameful for? Because that'll show you when you were operating in your full confidence. And like, ooh, that's where the magic begins. I was thinking about that today. I'm like, I have no problem telling Adrian exactly what I need, exactly how amazing I am for him. And I need to start doing the same thing and embracing that level of confidence, like in my social media, in my business, in my industry, like all of those things. So I hope these tips on confidence help you. I can talk about confidence for a million years. So ask questions down in the comments and I will answer them for you and maybe even make some videos about them. Like I said, if you need a place to figure out some of this shameful stuff that's going on and get coached and supported through that, book an intuitive business reading with me. I also have a life coaching membership called Made for Everything. We meet once a month for 60 minutes with a big group of women, and we kind of all talk through our biggest challenges of the week with mindset, with starting a business, with growing a business, with having partners and kids and responsibilities. And we basically take your biggest problem and then we make it disappear. So if that sounds like something you want to do, check out the resources down below. There's a bunch of ways to work with me, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!